Inspector Sorabo then tell myself and Mr. Bacon that we go make a spin. We went with Inspector Sorabo vehicle. He went to Palm Court, he park up, and he been trying to put himself in the right spot, like where the white car was. Right? He turned and saying, and I'm driving up to the right, trying to fit himself in the right position where the white car was. I was sitting in the back seat, Mr. Bacon was in the front seat, and Inspector Sorabo been driving. He took out his laptop and his cell phone, and he went in and do something. After he ended up like clappy hands. Use this thing, don't want to use this thing, right? And then he started explaining to me that he went back to the night of the shooting and he put in Mark Richmond. We said the person, the man that we went for, Mark Richmond, put in the number, and it showed that he went on the spot the night. And when they checked the phone, it showed that after he left the spot, he went and meet up with Mohamed, and they ended up the East Bank together. It showed the phone signal, showed that they met up the bank together, and it also showed that when he matched up the numbers, it showed that Mark Richmond was making contact with Azadine before the shooting.
Well, I'd like to address the historic context of this. Back in February of this year, Mr. Bascom exposed a lot of what he has repeated last week in an interview with a noted journalist in Guyana. That interview was recorded, and in that interview he spoke extensively about Mr. Bacchus. He spoke extensively about the acts and actions that were taken in an attempt to either frustrate or pervert the course of justice. The reason why Mr. Bascom gave that interview was because he feared that if anything happened to him, that there would be evidence that he disclosed exactly what was going on in relation to the investigation, the attempts that were being made to frustrate the investigation. Now, this was done in February, long before Mr. Bascom was incarcerated and made the two disclosures last week. I can confirm that I personally have spoken with that journalist, and that journalist confirmed that he did conduct the interview with Mr. Bascom in February, and he will, once the appropriate inquiry is established, release the content of his video interview with that journalist and his interview with Mr. Bascom. In addition to that, Mr. Bascom wrote a very detailed statement dated the 8th of February in which he set out all these matters in detail, and it was actually headed on the CID on the 8th of February. Again, this was done to protect himself, for in the event that anything happened to him, there was a record of what happened. I will ask Mr. Bascom to give us the chronology of events as they happened in relation to Mr. Randall Bacchus. So before we go further on that, I also want to disclose, because people were asking for evidence, the police, after they arrested Mr. Bacchus, conducted a videotaped interview with Mr. Bacchus, in which Mr. Bacchus specifically said that it was Mr. Bascom that brought him into the police station. Apart from that, the station diary ought to record, and Mr. Bascom was in the case, she ought to have a record of when he brought in Mr. Randall Bacchus, and it was recorded in the station diary. I will ask Mr. Bascom to go over the information in relation to Randall Bacchus and when how he came to be taken to the CID headquarters. Mr. Bascom.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. On the 6th of April, I was with Inspector Sorabo, now ASP, and some other ranks. We went and take Mark Henry to the Yanchy prison. On our way back to CID headquarters, I received a call from Randall Bacchus he was in a panic mode, and he told me, come and get me now, buddy. The man has put out a bulletin for me, right? So I don't ask him bulletin for what he said with the farm court thing. So I end up now, the farm court shooting, I end up really tweeting me to Inspector Sarabo at the time, that Ronald Backer just told me that the police put out a bulletin fee and you have to come and get him. And Inspector Sarabo tell me that I must go and collect him. When we meet back to CID headquarters, I went to the back, collect my vehicle, drive to Campbellville where he was, pick him up, bring him at CID, walk through the back from narcotic branch, and walk him through the front. When I come to the front today, Mr. Caesar being just come back from on the road, and he was on the shed where the vehicle is parked, and I carry one of the walkers upstairs, and one of the junior ranks book him in the diary, who was working the desk rank at the time, make entry in the diary and book him in. And the rank son asked me, where you coming from? And I tell you a code that we use. I tell you the code, and he asked me, one explain to you, and he made the entry in the diary.
And at the time you brought him in, was there anybody around at that time?
Yes, everybody that's working in the major crime investigation, it was right there when I brought him in. Even had people from the crime lab to see when I walk in from the back building, and see when I brought him in.
Right, so the first invitation we wish to issue to Mr. Lannon is, of course, if he could play that video recorded interview with Mr. Randall Backus, which they took after he was arrested. If he could show an undoctored copy of the station diary. And of course, he should also produce Mr. Backus and have Mr. Backus indicate who brought him in, and also whether he could speak with the attorney-at-law who is alleged to have accompanied him to find out whether they are prepared to corroborate his statement. The second issue raised by Mr. Blannon was that somehow Mr. Bascom provided the name of Richmond. Mr. Blannon must have forgotten that at the start of his interview, he said it was Roger Cann who actually provided this name to them, and they acted on it. And it was not Mr. Bascom. And Mr. Bascom, I would allow him to say exactly what happened in relation to Mr. Richmond, and whether he went to search Mr. Richmond's house, premises, and how that information came about. Mr. Bascom?
Yes. I was at a major crime investigation with CID when Mr. Caesar sent to call me. I went upstairs at the top floor where he's normally be in his office. And when I went in, he called me and he said, come, flash this picture. And he hold out his phone and tell me to flash the information from his phone. So I take my phone and flash his phone. And when I flash his phone, it had the information of the guy named Mark Richmond. Mark up inside the phone, the address was like 43 Ben Street. Shortly after, he called up Assistant Superintendent Bacon, and he came up and he said, I want you and Bascom to go and locate this address to me in Ben Street. I then saw the name Mark Richmond, and I said to him, because I didn't see any photograph, so I said to him, if we type in this name on Facebook, we can get a face to go with it. When I told him to let him that, then he sent through a picture, which is a IDPR picture like with Mark Richmond, to Mr. Bacon. Mr. Bacon then sent the picture to me. After Mr. Bacon sent the picture to me, he was talking, and then I remember that Mark Richmond is work at Mohamed Enterprise. So I end up telling him, I said, man, you know, this man work by Mohamed, and he looked it out hard at time. I knocked you all at F-man. Just go and locate the address. If you see the man, don't arrest the man. We don't go 4 o'clock in the morning.
I just want to stop. We've been getting complaints that the volume is low. I'm not sure why that is so. Yes, please go ahead, sir.
Yeah. He said they are see the man, don't arrest the man. We go 4 o'clock in the morning to the man. We left and we went and located the address, but the address of 2 houses, one at the front and one at the back. So we didn't show us which house. And since we said that we going to go 4 in the morning for the guy, we end up left and went. I went to locate somebody who know the guy, a source. And the source called me and pointed out the right house to me, which is the second house in the yard downstairs. We went back to Mr. Caesar and explained to that he located the house. He said, I'm going to go in the morning and I'm going to get tea. He said, I'm going to call Chabi, referring to Superintendent Chabi, not thing a breakdown. He said, I'm going to call Chabi and he gave me a patrol to go over there. He went on his cell phone and he called Mr. Chabi and go on his phone. He said, Chabi, he said, I want patrol to go with Bascom and Mr. Bacon to get this man in Bell Street concerning this mysterious case. That was the word he used. When he finished talking, he come out and he said, I'm going to go home and come back at 4, Chabi going to give you a patrol to go and get the guest. We come out 4 o'clock, we went by the house. When we meet by the house, the door was wide open, the man brother was standing in the house. A guy resembled Mark Richmond standing in the house. So I said good morning. I said, what are you doing up so early in the morning and your door wide open, called like 10 past 4. He said, I'm a Muslim and I just don't pray. So I asked him, I said, I thought the first prayer squad to 5. How come you just don't pray at 10 past 4? He said, Muslim is pray anytime. I said, anyway, so you told me, see the son. I said, brother Mark, he said, Mark went there. He said, Mark would sleep by the girl sometime. So I told him to call his son. His son come out. When his son come out, he went out to see uncle. He said yesterday, then he watched his father, he said 3 days ago. So I said, he said yesterday or 3 days ago? He said 3 days ago. I tell his father, I said anyway, I feel like no conduct a search in the house. He said, no problem. I asked you which room Mark is occupied, and he showed me the first bedroom. When we go to the first bedroom, the wardrobe door was open and he closed the door as if somebody call you and he said, I tell you wrong, they say, watch, I'll come and close there like somebody call you and tip you out and tell you that we come in. Right? Anyway, we still conduct a search. We didn't find anybody. We just went upstairs. The people upstairs asked him what Mark Richmond. They said he lived downstairs. I asked the lady when I asked to see him. She said he was in the yard yesterday afternoon. And she started looking outside and asked him if he was biking outside. So he said no, she said if he's biking doesn't mean that he gone. We left from there and we went. I don't want to clear this part. We never went to Marvel Enterprise and asked for Mark Richmond. We went and parked up outside and stake out myself and Assistant Superintendent Bacon to see if he going to come to work. Because we said, we know the car and say that we come in, they don't tell you to go and get it. If we see at the workplace, we would arrest you and carry you into the evening. So we parked outside and waited, and after the initial office, then we left and went back to CID headquarters.
When you went back to CID headquarters, can you tell us what you did? Did you report to anyone? When
we went back to CID headquarters, we reported to Mr. Caesar that we didn't see the guy, and all he said was, alright, good. Those are the setups.
And did Mr. Caesar ever at any time after that ask you to go back for Mr. Richmond after you had reported?
No, he never asked you to go back to Mr. Richmond at any time.
You will also recall that during the course of the presentation by Mr. Blanham, he suggested that some Essequibo businessman had provided the name of Mark Richmond to Mr. Bascom, and that was part of the attempt to, I assume, tarnish the image of one of the principal suspects. Well, Mr. Blanham cannot have his cake and eat it. It can't be that Roger Khan provided the name, and at the same time this Essequibo businessman provided the name. Mr. Bascom, can you tell us how you first became aware of the name Richmond in this investigation?
I first became aware of the name when Mr. Caesar called me to me to process information from his phone. I have the photograph still with the information I got from Mr. Caesar's phone.
Mr. Blanham went on to talk about a journalist from Cairo News indicating that Mr. Bascom had spoken to him and that was the basis upon which there was some allegation about Mr. Bascom breaching the standard operating procedures of the police by providing information to the press. And that article was carried in Cairo. Mr. Bascom, can you provide us with the details of that?
Yes. The journalist did contact me, but I told the journalist that things now going back good with me and them, because when the year now starts, Mr. Caesar keep a meeting with all the ranks of CID, and he said that he put in certain things behind me. And all the ranks of CID would know that I'm white talking here is true. He said so he put certain things behind me, and do the work and so on. Mr. Blanham, I was promoted to sergeant. Mr. Blanham keep on meeting with all you promoted and he tell me that you're moving up in rank and they are control your tempo because he was once like me and so on, and you're going to want other people looking up to you. So because the reason for he tell me that because me and Mr. Caesar them had a little misunderstanding. He tell me that you need to control your tempo and so on and so on. So when the journalist contacted me, I said that I'm on good because they're now getting back good work relationship and I don't want to mess up anything. So I didn't tell the journalist anything.
Right. Now, Mr. Blanham went on to make a very interesting statement about the state of technology in the Guyana Police Force in 2022. He said that they did not possess the equipment, and I don't want to misrepresent what he said. They did not possess the equipment that would allow them to go to a particular location, put in the number of a suspect, and be able to tell whether or not the suspect was at a particular location. That's a particularly startling revelation, because you will remember over 10 years ago, as a matter of fact almost 20 years ago, during the crime wave in 2002, there was specialized equipment that was brought into the country that allowed the Guyana Police Force and other persons who might have been assisting them to triangulate and pinpoint the specific location of a particular person. Mr. Blanham perhaps may not have been in the force or not sufficiently high up in the force to remember that when Commissioner Henry Green himself confirmed that the police had that equipment and capacity. So maybe between the era of Mr. Henry Green and now Mr. Blanham as crime chief, they've managed to misplace it. But let me just perhaps put this in context. Every cell call has to go up through a tower and then through a series of towers to the tower closest to the recipient of that call. The time when that message passes through each tower is easily discernible. The technology is basic, and I'm sure several teenagers can provide the police with the apps that they have on their phones that can actually tell you where people are. And that is not sophisticated surveillance equipment. This is equipment that teenagers have. So the fact that somehow Mr. Blanham is suggesting that the Guyana Police Force is incapable of telling you, one, when a particular number was utilized to call another number. All of you know that you pick up WhatsApp, it will tell you the time when you made the call. So the equipment is there. The equipment is also there that would allow you, if you put in a specific number which is on a specific exchange, to tell you when those calls were made, where the calls were made, and where the person was when that signal particularly passed through a specific location. But I will ask Mr. Bascom to give you the details about exactly what happened when he was outside of Palm Court at the time when these pieces of equipment were deployed.
All right. After Mr. Caesar left the company morning, Inspector Sorabo then tell myself and Mr. Bacon that we go make a spin. We went with Inspector Sorabo's vehicle. He went to Palm Court, he parked up, and he been trying to put himself in the right spot like where the white car was. Right? He turned saying, I'm driving up to the right view. Trying to fit himself in the right position where the white car was. I was sitting in the back seat. Mr. Bacon was in the front seat, and Inspector Sorabo been driving. He took out the laptop and he set on his cell phone, and he went in and do something. After he ended up like clappy hands. Use this thing, we'll go on use this thing, right? And then he started explaining to me that he went back to the night of the shooting and he put in Mark Richmond. We said the person did the one that he went for. Mark Richmond put in number and he showed that he went on the spot the night. And when they checked the phone, they showed that after he left the spot, he went and meet up with Mohamed and they ended up eastbound together. They showed the phone signal, showed that I thought they met up the bank together, and it also showed that when he matched up the number, they showed that Mark Richmond was making contact with Azuline before the shooting.
Right. There's further information on that, but of course a lot of this information is highly confidential, and unless there is a guarantee for the safety of Mr. Bascom, that's not going to be released initially. Mr. Blanham then went on to say that because they directed the press to Kanu to confirm that it was Kanu who published the image of Mr. Bascom, the perp walk photograph with the number, then it wasn't the police who called Canning. But we all know that nobody who commits an act is going to go publicly to say that they committed an act, and therefore we don't expect the head of Canada to say anything other than what he did say. Now, in relation to the final claim that was made by Mr. Blanham about false allegation because Mr. Bascom was unaware that they were seeking foreign assistance, our intelligence has disclosed that the foreign assistance that the Guyana Police Force was allegedly waiting on was the enhancement of the images of the camera to disclose the car number, which took the shooters away from the scene. Now, I am sure if you ask a common entrance student whether bandits are likely to use an authentic car number, the real car number for the specific vehicle, they are not going to do that. They're going to use a false number plate. So waiting for that number to be cleaned up or enhanced by some foreign agency is not going to assist you, because I mean, if you're a betting person, there's no way they would have used the correct car number. Why are they going to leave that fingerprint in the scene? So in relation to the false, what Mr. Bland said was the false allegation in relation to foreign experts, I think that speaks for itself. I just want to recap by saying in February, Mr. Bascom gave an extensive, detailed interview with one of our prominent journalists in which he made very detailed reports about everything he repeated the other day, including the fact that he took Mr. Backerson, including what had been done by the principal parties that he has made these allegations against again. And therefore, unless he was particularly gifted in February, he would not have been able to predict the events that happened over the last week. Just to update you, we have not yet received a response from the President in relation to the request for witness protection or in relation to the convening of the Commission of Inquiry. We have written to the Commission of Police after he issued the press release, indicating to him that the Act, the Protected Disclosures Act, specifically prohibits him from taking, or the Guyana Police Force, from taking any disciplinary proceedings against Mr. Bascom because of the disclosure he made to the President. The Act is a classic whistleblower protection piece of legislation. 2 days ago, when I wrote to the Commission of Police, I indicated to him that we were even more concerned about the safety of Mr. Bascom, and I will let Mr. Bascom tell you what happened today outside of his house.
Yesterday, at my home, a guy came out after sucking a flap at in the face. He right past the house, and as he right past, he was watching at the house. He then stopped, fixed the bicycle. After he fixing a bicycle chain, watching over the house, and then he ride back. While living there, they got a little bridge to go over to the other village. He didn't go to the other village, he turned back and come out back. And when one of my neighbors right behind him to see where he going, he did already gone.
And
he was going inside.
Can you share from your experience what might have happened in the
what I think happened here is something that we normally do. This is a wrecking a place, and you don't want to park with a car, nobody recognize the number, recognize the car. You get the whole bicycle and put it in the trunk, and you use the bicycle to ride to check out the house. So it could be the police, or it could be somebody that wanted to find where he lived, to harm him.
And I'll also ask Mr. Bascom to tell you what happened after we announced that we were going to have the press conference today.
Yes, a police went home by my house. He come from Enmore Station, he received a message that I must report for duty immediately. I wasn't at home, but my wife called me to inform me that the police came there and tell her that I must report for duty immediately. I just come to Enmore Station.
And the final bit I wanted to bring to your attention is that in that letter to the Commissioner of Police, we asked him specifically what arrangements had been put in place for the safety and security of Mr. Bascom while we were awaiting the response from the President, and we asked him to allow him to go on special leave while the President determines what his actions are going to be, because Mr. Bascom is assigned to a station in Essequibo, and we all know that getting from Georgetown to Essequibo affords several opportunities for unfortunate events to take place. I have not had the courtesy of a response from the Commissioner of Police. We are now open for questions.
On board motion, Mr. Hughes, this entire case appears to be played out in the press, played out before cameras. Do you think that will sort of destroy any evidence that might come before a trial, come before a commission inquiry, any evidence that ought to be investigated?
There's always a very high risk that the more publicity there is in relation to evidence that exists, that evidence can disappear. The reality with Mr. Bascom is that he has been placed in a position in which he's got to defend himself. He didn't hold the press conference. It was the police who held the press conference and attacked him. I noticed that the police did not provide any information on when they were likely to solve the Ricardo Fagundes case. So Mr. Bascom, to a very large extent, particularly because he would have contacts, informants, etc., has been put in this position. And the entire police force and the complete top brass of the Guyana police force attacked him. They said that he's lying, that there's no credibility, he's malicious. And so the only way he can deal with that is to respond to it. We have not disclosed a lot of other information that we have. The journalist who recorded that interview with him has that recording, actually contacted me as soon as before he became a client, as soon as this issue became a public matter last week. I would have thought that if the Guyana Police Force and those who are responsible really and truly for finding out who is responsible for the murder would be taking actions to ensure that evidence does not get degraded or compromised or removed, so that if and when they file charges, they have enough credible evidence available. So this is really in the hands of the Guyana Police Force. Do we have any questions coming online or no? Okay. If there are no further questions, while you're doing that, there's something that I thought. Since you submitted the medical, has anyone contacted you from either the Office of Professional Responsibility or the Guyana Police Force?
No, not until today. When I went by the office.
Sorry, any other questions? Sorry, Gordon, you had a follow-up?
Yeah, I know Mr. Bascom has made some very serious allegations against senior police officers, many of them more senior years. Do you believe that the information he has, or does he have evidence that can support all of these claims? I know he has said he can go before commission inquiry, he can go before...
I don't want to cut you, but you just said that if he continues to release more information, it's going to degrade the case. So you're asking him not to release more information?
No, I'm asking if he believes there is sufficient evidence that he might have to substantiate the cover-up claims. That's what I'm dealing with. The cover-up claims that the Fagundes murder investigation has been covered up.
Yes.
Care to share any of that?
No, I would not advise him to share it, no.
Have you seen the evidence come through?
I wouldn't respond to that either. I've seen a lot of evidence. You've got to appreciate that Mr. Bascom's life is in real danger. If he starts to disclose the nature of the information and evidence that he's in possession of, that may increase the incentive and accelerate the reason for reducing his life expectancy.
Do you intend to seek the assistance, or is it being considered to approach some of the foreign embassies in there, because you're asking for witness protection, but some of the same people who might provide that witness protection might be actors of the state, might be actors of the police that he's concerned about. So, in terms of reaching out to other agencies for protection.
Yeah, we have already initiated that process, but we thought it was only fair to ensure that we give Guyana the option to protect one of its own. And we went to the highest office holder in the country, the president, and said, look, can we have witness protection? If that fails, then we will pursue the other avenues that we've already embarked upon.
And sir, and Bascom, you can chime in here too. At the same time, the police force was hosting that press conference. A businessman has issued a letter to you concerning some of the allegations, also issued a statement saying this may all be related to one of his rivals in the gold industry, and them getting back at him and using you to get back at him because you might have done some work with that other businessman that he's in competition with in the business sense.
No, that's not true. He's not a businessman. I know him as a friend for several years. And he had nothing to do with me coming out and doing this. What ended up happening after I was released from camp, right? One thing I tell a lot of close relatives about what happened with this whole incident with paper sharks, including some officers that I know, right? And when I get loose, I start going to the media on top, right? And I tell me, don't do that. I hold it up. But when I meet home, I get a call from somebody who tell me what was the intention, and when I work with Mr. Caesar for years. And when the person relates to me what I plan to do, I know that it's true because I know Mr. Caesar. If you want to use this drug, think that I get charged with drugs, they use it to get rid of me because I know that they know what I know. So they were going to use this drug thing, get somebody to kill me, and then it would look like I get killed because there's some drug deal or something like that. So this is why I decided to talk, because if I gone there, and if I gone there, then it should be told. Because if I did, me family lose 3 ways, as a state in the video. I did. The family name left with a stain, because it looked like I did. People said the sergeant involved in drugs, it had to be some drug stain killing. Right? That means they get to know justice. And they lose me. So they lose me, they get no justice, and the family name left with a stain. So this is why I to speak up about this whole thing.
And sorry, can you clarify why you went to the journalist in February?
The reason I went to the journalist in February is after the end of I didn't get transferred yet when I went to the journalist. It's when they start accusing me of leaking out information so I throw news. So I was fearful for my life when I went to the journalist and I made the video and give you some evidence and so on to keep. I tell you, if anything happens to me, you must release it to the video.
It appears as though, Mr. Bascom, that your reactions are always in response to something happening. You went to the journalist because you were accused of leaking information. You spoke out last week because of the Canoe incident.
No, not because of the Canoe incident. I didn't speak because of the Canoe incident. I spoke because, as I explained to you just now, I got a phone call telling me that they're planning to use this Canoe incident to get rid of me, to kill me, or as the person said, lash up.
So what I'm trying to get at, you first started to talk about these issues in February when you did the interview with journalists, and now we're in August. This weekend marks, I think, the 17th or 18th month since the murder of Mr. Hernandez. Why not speak out before? Why were these issues brought out by you? As against appearing now that because things are happening to you with the job, I will skin them up, as Guyanese might say.
Alright. I will tell you something now that you didn't tell me, Steve. When Mark Richmond called me today and I went to break down report, actually when he called me, I was about to go to Leno Report. And when I went to Lenora, I talked to Mr. Watts because I see him as a strict officer, right? So I went to Mr. Watts, and if you want to be truthful details, he could relay this. I talked to Mr. Watts in the compound at Lenora, and I actually provided with all these phone things. So I explained the whole story to him about Marrakesh money, and he ended up telling me, he gave me a number, and I sent it to him. I sent you all the information, Marrakesh money picture and everything, and I explained everything to him, but he never get back to me or anything like that, Mr. Watts. And that was since the 18th of May when Marrakesh money called me. I relate to Mr. Watts, and I sent all these things to him.
Mr. Deon, I know you said there should be a commission of inquiry. Based on what you've seen over the past weeks, the police force responding and some of what your clients have said, do you think that has eroded the credibility of the Guyana police force or local investigators to not only investigate this particular case, but also the death of Mr. Pagandas, the murder of Mr. Pagandas?
I thought the press conference yesterday was particularly disturbing on several fronts. The first one was the fact that you would convene a press conference with the highest levels of the Guyana police force to attack one of your own members and not make a single comment on the state of investigation in relation to the murder, which led to all these things. And this is not a common garden murder. This is a murder that took place here often in area it took place. Secondly, the lack of capacity that was demonstrated both in terms of the content of the press conference and the admission by the crime chief of their capabilities bothers me, because at the end of the day, all of us need a Guyana police force to serve and protect, whether it's crime for the average person in the street, whether you live downtown in the ghetto and you get robbed or stuck up, or whether you are high society drinking at a fancy place like Crown Forest. And if that is the level of competence of the Guyana police force, as demonstrated by their best and finest, you can't get higher than that, Commissioner of Police, head of crime, head of major crime, and they say to you after a year and a half where they have all that technological evidence available, they can solve this crime, then I think perhaps they should have said we need help and allow foreign experts or countries that are friendly to provide that assistance. Because they have to admit, I think you just said 17 or 18 months. That's the failure. If you can't solve this crime, there's no dispute about how the man died. There's no dispute about the bullets that were used to shoot him, AK-47 9mm. There's no issue about the angle which the bullets entered the body. The only issue here is the identity of the perpetrators. You have cars, you have video footage, you have the unexplained fact that no roadblocks were set up, you have the time when the car was burnt at Swan. Everything that any other reasonable police force would use to solve the crime. And they have not solved it, and they have not even bothered to reassure the citizens of when this is likely to be solved. At the end of the day, we would like to believe that whoever is responsible for Mr. Pagandas' death is charged. And if they can't do it with this capacity, that's my impression of the Guyana police force. And here you have a man who is making a complaint against senior officers in the force, and their only reaction is to clear him. And perhaps the worst part of this is that they arrive at the conclusion without even interviewing him to hear what he has and would be willing to disclose to them. So at this point, this is not a case of trying to send him to prove. That's precisely why you establish a commission of inquiry.
I know at this point, protection from Mr. Bascom is a key issue. The president is currently in Trinidad, where he departed, he said his long-team, the Lieutenant Bureau of Marine. Do you have a time stamp that you plan on waiting? How long more do you plan on waiting? And what's next? What are you going to do?
The what's next, I don't want to give you too much specifics. I think in response to what I indicated that we are looking at options that include friendly foreign government, not even beyond friendly foreign government. You see, again, I think it's unfortunate that the president would put Mr. Bascom in a position where he is giving him time. If a citizen comes to you and says, I need help, somebody's threatening to kill me, and you say, I can deal with it, I will go away, I will come back. Apart from clearly indicating the priority that has in the president's scale of consideration for citizens, Mr. Bascom can't wait inevitably for the president to get around it. As a matter of fact, when we heard the president had not received the letter, we thought we had not delivered it, and we were saying that we had not delivered it, and I immediately went and published the time that the letter was delivered, and the office of the president came back and said the president didn't say that. But to come back to your question is, how much time we give the president? We don't want to arrogate onto ourselves somehow that we have the power to say to the president, please answer us by tomorrow. But we do have an obligation of self-preservation to ourselves that if the president does not act by a particular time, we need to protect Mr. Bascom's life. I don't wish to be attending a funeral, giving a tribute to Mr. Bascom about how brave he was to stand up to corruption in the Guyana police force. And all of us are wailing, and he's gone. Because you know what happens the week after the wailing, when his wife, his family, has a real issue of how they're going to live, and nobody wants to touch them. That is the reality of it. And so we have an opportunity now. His Excellency is out of the country, we don't know when he's going to respond, but we have another course of actions we will take if it appears to us that we are unlikely to solicit the assistance, where a citizen is saying to the president, my life is in danger, I have done X, Y, and Z. Any one question from online? Mark Benshaw? Is he coming live or is this the question?
Yes, good afternoon. I have this question here for Executive Sergeant Bascom as it pertains to what the crime chief, Mr. Lanham, said when an officer is threatened, an officer life is threatened. In the case of yours, you have provided evidence that the suspect, or one of the suspects, is Mark Richmond, who happens to be a security guard at Mohamed's business. Is it standard operation procedure that when an officer is threatened by someone, that it's just a report is made, a notation is made, and that's the end of it, or do you guys follow up? My other question to Executive Bascom is, how did you feel, Civic, knowing that you have presented in the eyes of most guys credible evidence about this entire transaction, but to sit there and to listen to the Commissioner of Police acting and the crime chief to basically try to rubbish what you have said? How did that make you feel, sir?
Okay, concerning the first question, it depends on who. To me, like before, it depends on who's the officer in charge, because there was one time I was stationed in the narcotic branch, and I was a person doing a lot of work for the narcotic branch, intel work plus raids. And my officer was Corey Simon, and somebody said that, I didn't even know, they told me that two men plotting to kill me, right? And Mr. Simon sent us out with the whole narcotic branch along with some other ranks to go and arrest the two guys. And we went and arrest both of them and bring them in. And he bring them in and he give them a sworn warrant and tell me if you hear touch from me yet, that whatsoever. And he end up talking to them and so on. And they said no, we didn't do that and so on, right? But it depends on who's the officer, because the forces said that as a police officer you can't receive threats. This is one of the things that they say. But Mr. Simon, as an officer, he end up do something about it. And I wasn't even aware that the threats was out here. The next thing you have.
Yeah, no, how you feel?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the next thing, I feel real bad because I standing there knowing for a fact, especially with the part where the crime chief said that Randall Bacchus was brought in by his lawyer, knowing that I went and bring in Randall Bacchus. I said, I was sitting and I said, after this man coming so long with a dry face and lying, right? And even some ranks, I want to call name, right from evening, we will know that Mr. Bacchus was the one, the time this man stand up So I always meet the people, he sit down in front of all meet the people and lie and saying that's how this man lie bring in, and he knows he said that I was the one that brought him Mr. Bacchus. So how could he be trusted when he could sit down in front of me and tell this lie? So I feel real bad about that. Yes, sorry.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Just a final question. I know you guys you're on that. Outside of this controversial murder probe, public perception is obvious that the police force doesn't want to solve this crime, and again, for obvious reasons. But are you aware of other high-profile cases that may have been compromised at the CID headquarters?
Mark, I think I'm going to have to jump in here as counsel and consulary for Mr. Bascom. He does that and his life goes even more danger. Now you're going to increase the army of people who are coming behind him. So I think that is perhaps something that we, if he does have that information, I'm not sure that this is the appropriate time. And when he has the appropriate protection, perhaps he may want to answer that.
Do you see a future threat to the Guyana police force after this? Do you see yourself in the Guyana police force? Do you see yourself ever returning to the police force? Is that something you might consider?
Actually, I was contemplating to leave long, but being a police is something that I like doing. I like helping people, especially when it comes to crime fighting. Actually, somebody may ask me to go and work at apply at canoe because I know that I'm a roadman and all that things, right? But I don't want to tell the person that canoes look at one straightforward thing, and the police will be helping people because I like when they put a smile on a person's face. And for the record, I could recall on 2 occasions where I actually saved persons from going into prison or getting charged wrongfully. One was the big man at Guyana Street, where they had already charged a young man and he was in prison. And I ended up coming and get the information and we overlap on the right set of people. And they know this. With the big man get by Guyana Street motorcycle, we get the right person, you get his bike and we give back everything. And later on we end up losing the guy like 2 weeks after we get the right set of person. And this next guy get charged, done in jail for remand for murder, and he end up getting loose. And it's I the one that end up getting the right set of persons. And the next time with the granny that got killed by Montrose, we had another guy in there for like 5 days, and he was about to go court, and I get a call from somebody who tell me this is the wrong person. I guess they give me the right person name. I went to the crime chief and tell him, eventually get the right person, get charged, then get 100 years in prison. And the other guy get loose, or you going to get charged. So basically I like helping people and so on really when it comes to the crime fighting part.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I think we probably have exhausted your patience. We thank you. We're happy that we have Mr. Bascom here. I hope that when we meet again, it would be after the convening of the Commission of Inquiry, both into the murder of Mr. Fernandez and also the allegation